Hey, everybody, welcome into Mornings with Loretta. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something because, I'm always transparent and everything with you all. I'm so happy to be doing an evening show. It's like I do morning shows, I go speak somewhere, and then I have to come back. But this next guest, his story, I'm reading his book, and I'm a little behind normal because I was reading the book and then some technical stuff. But Ron Godfrey has an amazing story, and I'm sure you will be inspired by it. You will be so impressed with his resilience. I'm telling you, because I am. I mean, there's a lot I could say about him already, and I haven't talked with him yet, but trust me on this one. His story is amazing. Everybody, welcome to the Loretta McNary Show for the very first time. Actor, author, and just an overall music aficionado. He loves music too. So we're going to talk about all that. Everybody, welcome Ron to Loretta McNary Show. Hi there.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. So I have a question for you.
Oh, you have a question for me? That's
Yes.
new. Okay.
Yeah, I was listening to your introduction of me, which was fabulous, by the way. But what was that big word you used for music? What?
Aficionado.
I
You're
was I
so
was sitting
funny.
here, I was sitting here like I never heard that before.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, now can I take this seat back? You going
Yes,
to
you
get
can.
back in the guest seat?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Because I have a ton of questions. I have a
Okay.
ton of questions because your book is amazing.
Thank you.
We are definitely dedicating this show to your son that you started the foundation for, and we'll talk about that. Maybe that's why I'm having this right about this talk. But anyway, so let's start with how you got started because I'm reading your book. You've had a lot of heartbreak. You've had a lot of trauma, things that happen kids should ever have to go through or live through. But here you are. I think my publicist found you on TikTok of all places. So just
Yes.
tell us about you.
Well, again, I'm Ron Godfrey. I am just turned 54, actually, September the 3rd. And I've been acting for 14 years, going on 14 years. And my career has been very lucrative, very wonderful. And I thank God for that. I'm an author. My book, Crying Out in the Dark, has been out since 2020. And here it is 2024, and I'm so proud to say that it's still holding at a 4.8 out of 5 stars. So yeah, and I have a lot going on, a lot more coming up, and I'm just excited about it.
Okay, so your title of your book is Grind and Conquer. So did the book come first or did the title come first? I'm always curious how writers do that process.
No, the title is Crying Out in the Dark.
Okay, so what's Grind and Conquer?
Grind and Conquer is my my apparel brand.
Okay, so I know you got a lot going on, and I have a list of stuff Monica wants us to talk about. So, and I'm reading the book. I am crying over the book, so I should have known that because you cry a lot. You admit to crying. I'm like, he's a strong man that admits to crying.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. You just don't hear that a lot. So let's talk about since we're already at Grind and Conquer. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Grind and Conquer. I came up with that idea in the gym. Actually, I was working out. And I remember I was bench pressing and I was tired and I was on my last set. And I said, I gotta grind this out. I gotta conquer this. And so I'm laying there on the bench. I'm like, wait a minute, conquer, grind and conquer. That works, So I put it together. And then as time went on, I was like, you can apply that to everyday life because we're all on a grind, striving to conquer our goals in life. And so my logo consists of two eagles and a crown in the middle. And if you know anything about eagles, eagles don't fly with any other bird other than eagles, or they'll fly alone. And during the times of storms, when other birds are seeking shelter, the eagle has the capacity and ability to spread its wings and fly above the storm. So the whole idea of that is when the storms of life hit, you spread your wings and fly above the storm. so that you can keep going. And once you reach your destination, you'll receive the crown of victory. Crown of conquer.
I love that. And we do have that in common. I actually love eagles so much. I have a nonprofit for girls called Pink Eagles, right?
Wow.
So I love eagles. I
Nice.
love stories about eagles. I am an eagle and I just love that. So we do have that in common. So let's talk now about, because you're an actor. That is how I think the thing that was that Monica wanted to talk about. Well, you're an actor. You have a show out on Tubi. You've had all kinds of moving, film, TV. So she wanted to talk about that, and especially your role where you play a coach, I think. So
Yes.
let's talk about American Soul, The Staircase, and then Mike.
Okay. American Soul. I think, if I'm not mistaken, for some reason that they took it off the air, but it's a story about how Soul Train got started. And so I am so proud to have been a part of that. And the scene that I was in a bar scene where I was the piano player. And as a matter of fact, Robert Townsend from the Five Heartbeats directed my scene, and I was the piano player in the scene, and I actually do play piano, so that worked out just fine. And the 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 great thing about that is after we did that scene, I was on my way to Denver. Matter of fact, I had just landed in Denver, and I got a call from my agent and said, "Hey, Robert Townsend wants you back on set to teach, some of the other actors." I was like, "Oh my God, I just landed in Denver. What am I going to do?" So yeah, I, I was sick. I was so sick, but I feel like it'll come back around when it's supposed to.
Absolutely. Okay. So things happen in God's timing, not because we want them to happen. So talk about your role in Mike. That's the one she was so excited for me to talk about.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. In the series Mike, which is on Hulu, it's a story about the life of Mike Tyson, and I play Donald Washington, which is the father to Desiree Washington, which we know that was the young lady that alleged that Mike Tyson had um, did some inappropriate things to, and I'll use that term. And so I play her father, and I didn't have a lot of speaking role in that, but I did have some speaking time in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I had fun with it. My manager always gets on me, well, not get on me, but she always says something to me about how my face talks for me before my mouth actually moves. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Me too. So what about when you played the role of Fred?
Freddie.
Remember that one? You've done so many. Can you remember them all? I wouldn't be able to remember them all. But
So
Fred is
Freddie,
one that I want to hear about.
Freddie, I play Freddie. I'm a boxing coach, and it's for a series on Tubi called Tears of a Hustler. As a matter of fact, we just completed season 2. We just finished filming that. Season 1 is already on Tubi, and I play a boxing coach to a young man who's up and coming as a boxer, but he's also has some dealings in the street a little bit. And I'm not only a coach, but I'm like a father figure to him, and I try to talk some sense into them, and like I said, be that person for them. But some of these youngsters, they learn the hard way.
Yeah. So what inspired you to want to get into acting? Did it find you, or you said, you know what, I need an outlet. I'm going through a lot and people say this and they say that. Maybe I should try it. How did that happen?
I never thought about being an actor. I've always wanted to be in entertainment when it came to music, because again, I play keyboards and I play guitar and drums and I sing. So I always pictured myself up there with, Stevie Wonder, the Jacksons, or, Roger Troutman and Zapp and all them. And so one day I just woke up one day and I said, you know what? I'm going to become an actor. I literally sat on the side of the bed, looked out the window and said, I'm going to become an actor. And I sought out, different auditions. I didn't know where to look. I didn't know where to even start. I just went online. I found an audition for a stage play, which was about 2 hours and 10 minutes from where I lived at the time. At the time, I was living in Alabama. and the audition was in Canton, Georgia. So I found the audition, went to the audition, and at the end of my audition, the director was like, "Okay, we'll call you." I was like, "You do what? You'll what? I just drove 2 hours and 10 minutes for a 10-minute audition, and you'll call me? That's not happening." So I'm like, all in my feelings. And so, long story short, before I left the building, she calls me back to the table and she says, "We're going to give you the part." And that's where it all began. And I love her to this day, Miss Cheryl Lambert. She is like a second mom to me. And she's the one that gave me my start. So Canton, Georgia is the birthplace of my acting career. And after my first performance, someone from the audience came to me and said, "Hey, I was reading the playbill and said that this was your debut." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." It's like, "I can't tell. You need to be in film." And like 4 months later, I was in my first short film. 4 months after that, I was in my first feature film. And after that, I was doing some things with Tyler Perry. So then the rest is history.
Oh, wow. And I saw in your book that you were acknowledging one of my favorite actors who I think does not get the just that is due him, and it's Mr. Tony Grant, I think.
Yes, yes. He
Yeah,
and I,
he is phenomenal. I met him and his wife when they came to Memphis for something a few years ago. So talk about that
yes.
experience.
Um, I met him, actually, I met him on the set of Love Thy Neighbor, which is a sitcom from Tyler Perry. And we became good friends. I'm actually good friends with his brother as well. And then landed on the set of a movie together. The movie never released, so I can't release the name. But yeah, we became good friends, and to this day, we don't talk much because he stayed busy and I stay busy. But we're good friends to this day.
Okay, so I'm telling you, your life is such an open book. I know you shared a lot in your book. So what was, again, I'm always curious as what was it that moved you to do things? I'm just an energy person. So to share it all in your book, let's talk about your book. What was your motivation, or what was it? And you said, you know what, I need more people need to hear this because I know I'm not the only one having these kinds of feelings and
Yeah.
struggling with despair. And you were suicidal at some point, and you even shared that. And I did cry when you said you were talking to Shiloh and you were at the train track in your black suit and you were contemplating ending it all, and God sent an angel. So what was it about? What made you say, let's do this in a book form, your story? Because it should be a movie. I want to say that your story should be a movie.
Well, it's funny that you say that because at least 3 producers have contacted me about possibly doing a movie of my book. So that is, being thought of and being talked about. But I just felt like there are so many men out there like me that they're suffering silently, and they're afraid to speak out because of the stigma that has lasted for years. And that is, men don't show weakness. You don't cry in front of a woman. You don't sit there and cry in front of anybody. You always show this image of strength and not weakness. When really, if I'm not able to release what I'm feeling, it could blow up. It's like a volcano. You don't know which way the lava is going to flow. So I wanted to put my story out there to let people know, especially men, it's okay to not be okay. And I want them to know you're not by yourself. This was me. And the feedback that I've gotten from some men that have read my book was tremendous. They was like, they were, it's like they were reading about themselves when they was reading about me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and mental health issues is definitely on the rise, and I know we've always had a struggle with that in not only the U.S. but around the world because trauma and just bad decisions being made by people we didn't, when we were kids, and so I hear that a lot of people. I personally hear a lot of stories where people are struggling with depression and feeling unwanted and rejected, and I kind of want to just ask you to kind of speak to that. How do you encourage them to just know their value and to believe that they are good enough? And then secondly, that it's okay to seek professional help. And did you ever seek professional help?
Listen, I want to tell any and everybody that it's okay to not be okay, you know, and I want everybody to know that you are enough. You are enough. Okay. Um, if you're feeling a certain way, if whatever you're going through and you don't feel safe in talking to somebody, write it down. Because one thing about the paper won't judge you, you know. So it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to seek professional help. It doesn't mean that you're crazy. It doesn't mean any of that. It means that you're acknowledging that you need help, and it's okay. It takes a big person to say, "Hey, I need help." I was him.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I found when I was struggling with depression, when I went through this whole, I fell, broke my leg, like a comprehensive 2-bone break and ankle and all that stuff. I did find myself spiraling, right? Because you can't do what you used to do, and you don't feel like the people are checking on you like they should, and so your mind starts playing these memories of other times when you were there for people, they weren't there for you, and so
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know what happens when that happens. A lot of people call it the enemy, but I just want people to know, shut that voice down. You have to shut the voice down,
You have
and
to.
you can only go so low before it becomes so difficult to get back up that you do want to give up. But
Right.
then I tell people it's temporary. Whatever it is, it's just, it will get better eventually,
Hmm.
or God will give you more strength and more peace. And it is a thing. I don't know one person who has not struggled with it at some level or another. But I just want people to understand the tide will change. It will come in and bring you some more joy, some more peace, and that is not over, because God is so huge that if He wanted you to stop doing something, He would literally make sure you knew to stop, because He's not the author of confusion. So, what was it for you other than the call that says, you know what, my life is worth living? Because you're a pastor at this time, and people think that pastors don't struggle with mental health issues, but I think because you're carrying so much burden, it's almost gonna happen.
And the thing is, in a lot of cases, they don't have anybody to turn to. You know, what did it for me was knowing that someone cared enough to say, "Hey, how are you?" You know, just those three words right there is what turned it around for me. Because at that point, again, I felt like somebody actually cared about my well-being. You know, I was always the one to, care about people. I was the giver and all this kind of stuff. And, I did things to fit in, and I needed validation from others. At least I thought I did, you know. And during that phone call, like I said, all I heard was, "How are you?" And tears just came out of nowhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. And that's such a beautiful story. It's like a Hallmark moment. 'Cause I love a Hallmark movie. So you play instruments, you write, you produce, you're an author, you're an actor, you're a dad, you have how many children do you? I was trying to count them when you were thanking them. You have a lot of children like me, but I have 5.
Well, I have 5 biological children.
Uh-huh.
One is in heaven, which you know about, Jeremiah.
Hmm.
And I have 3 grown, and then I have my 5-year-old daughter, Harmony. Yeah, she's been here before too. May I add?
Obviously, doesn't it feel like they've been here before? So I know I have to ask you this question to talk about your son that we're dedicating this show to is September, and I don't even know how to begin that conversation, because I never knew anybody prior to my son going ahead of me to heaven that could come and tell me anything. And so I've been put in places to talk to people who have had children transition before them, the most horrible pain in the world to me. And so how do you cope with that? Because it'll hit you just any kind of way. And you're so successful in your professional life. How do you deal with knowing that he's in heaven, and that you got to get to heaven to see him again, to help somebody else that's struggling with that?
Um, when you have your moment, have your moment. it's funny that you're even asking me about that, because I had a moment this morning where, this feeling of sadness just came over me, and it was because I was missing my son. You know, it can happen at any time, anywhere. You know what I mean? And I was actually driving when it happened, and you know, trying to hold yourself together, while especially while you're driving.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I was able to release it, and I miss him dearly. I miss him dearly. It's November 1st would be 2 years exactly, when we lost him, and it just has not been the same, and the grieving, to me, never stops. You just learn how to cope, with the loss. You'll never get over it. You just learn how to cope. You know.
That if I couldn't have said it better myself today. Now, a couple more years down the road, maybe I can say something different. But you deal with what you're feeling. You give into it as much as you can,
Right.
and then you realize, I know Brandon would not want me to break like this and not do all the other things that I'm not able to do because I am breaking. But I do have to acknowledge that it's hurting me right now. That is
Right.
a profound feeling of loss, and that a part of my heart is missing.
Right.
And you take it moment by moment, day by day, and you go on, and then you do something so sweet and beautiful in their memory
Yeah.
that gives you joy and brings joy to other people. And you've done that. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. And before I talk about that, I would like to give a shout out to his mom, Shiloh, because she was there 24/7, throughout his whole entire ordeal. You know, and you just have to give honor where honor is due, credit where credit is due. She may say, knowing her the way I do, she may say, "Well, I'm just being a mother." No, you were being a phenomenal mother. Because God had to give her the strength to, maintain, during his time, because it got to a point where, he was confined to a wheelchair. He couldn't really move, on his own. So I have to give credit where credit is due. And a couple of months after he passed, I started the Jeremiah L. Godfrey Brain Cancer Research Foundation, and it's to aid researchers in finding a cure, excuse me, for rare tumors. The tumor that he had on his brain is a rare tumor called DIPG, which stands for diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma. And to this day, to my knowledge, there has not been a cure found. And this particular tumor, it grows in on the brain stem, making it inoperable, and it comes in already malignant. So,
Mm.
um, so the foundation is set up to help researchers find a cure, and also we want to help families that are going through the same thing that we went through. Um, some of the medicines that's required is not covered by all insurances, so there will be some out of pocket expenses. So we want to aid those families that may need a little financial assistance through the foundation in Jeremiah's name and memory.
Mm, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. I love that so much. You just don't, I can't even tell you how much I love that. So what's next for you? Because you've done everything. You're an award-winning, nominated, you're a SAG actor. That's what all of us want to say. We got paid to act and be a part of SAG at some point. So what's next for you? It seems like you've done it all. Acting,
Well,
music.
I can't, actually, again, we just finished, well, I just finished my scene for Tears of a Hustler 2, which will be coming out on Tubi. Like, season 1 is already there. So if you haven't seen season 1, go watch season 1. We just finished season 2, and now I'm working on my next project, which I'm filming next month. I have a lead role in a movie called The Absconding, written by Ashley D. Smith and Ashley D. Speaks. I'm gonna leave it at her screen name, Ashley D. Speaks. So And then I landed my first action movie, which will be filming in March. So I'm getting ready for that. Also, I was notified that I've been nominated for ATL's Hottest Actor, TV and Film, ATL's Hottest Rising Star, and ATL's Hottest Gentleman of the Year. Just got those nominations. So yeah, I got a lot going on, and I'm thankful.
As you should be. And I just want people to, just think if you had given up, you wouldn't know that you wouldn't know God in this way, that he can blow your mind, give you opportunities that you couldn't even dream of, put your name in rooms that you've never been in, like his word promises that he will. So I think your whole entire life is what we titled this, resilience and triumph, because you've gone through a lot. Things that would break somebody if they don't know Christ. And I'm sure you had your point where you were weebling and wobbling, but you didn't give up. And I really admire your perseverance, because you have so many reasons to not quit. And I just hope people that are struggling with despair and depression and mental illness and just feeling, like the world is passing them by and is happening in a good way for everybody else. Your turn is coming. Your turn is coming. So how can we find you? How can we watch some of your movies? How can we support what's coming up next?
Well, as far as I want to say this first, as far as the foundation is concerned, you can go to www.jlgresearchfoundation.org. And that's for the foundation for my son. As far as I'm concerned, you can find me at I Am Ron Godfrey on all platforms. That's I Am Ron Godfrey. That's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. I Am Ron Godfrey. And I'm on Tubi, I'm on Prime, I'm on Hulu, I'm on HBO. God's blessed me to be on all of these platforms, and there's more coming.
Absolutely. There is definitely more coming for sure. So do you audition? How do the roles find you, or are you finding the roles? I know there are some aspiring actors and actresses and producers and writers out there. They want to know this process. How do you find the auditions?
Well, I do some on my own, and then I have an agent that will send me, an email, say, hey, we got this audition for you. Yeah, there you go. And so, that's how I do that. So, if you're looking to get into acting, I would say, seek out acting classes, get some good headshots, start your resume, and I'll go from there.
Okay, so no great life is without things happening. That's my thing. I keep want to remind people, because they think when you're following your dreams, you're pursuing your dreams, that everything must be golden. Life is not happening to you at all. Right. And I try to share, but when I go through, I like to go through alone. My sons don't know, my friends don't know. I like to just deal with it on my own, because I feel like I'm stronger. It could be a pride thing too. God is talking to me about that. So now that you know what you know, Ron, how are you dealing with when things don't go necessarily the way you would love for them to go?
Well, first of all, we're human. So, I actually just recently had a situation happen to where I was scheduled to be on a major motion picture that's actually being filmed right now. Had the offer letter and everything. The only thing I didn't have in my possession was the contract. And before I can get the contract, my agent out in California passed away. And when it was handed over to other people to deal with, the rug was pretty much pulled out from under me. And at that moment, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to quit. But then I said, nah, I came too far. Then I heard my son's voice. Said, Daddy, you can't quit. You can't quit right now. So you just have to keep going. You have to remember that the top of one mountain is the bottom of another. So you have to keep climbing, and
I
keep
like
pushing,
that.
So yeah. So you just got to keep going, because you're going to be told no. Different things is going to happen, but you have to remember why you're doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. I think I've exhausted you with so many questions.
I'm good. I'm enjoying it. I'm
So
enjoying
I'm
it.
not gonna just prolong this long interview with you. I mean, I just had so many questions. Your story is so fascinating, and it is definitely one of overcoming. And you're so transparent with, life happening, what you've gone through, how you handle it then versus now. And I enjoy watching your TikToks when you're doing the music. And I'm like, I wanted to ask you so bad, could you sing a little something? But I'm not. I'm just gonna say if you have any closing words, and then I'm gonna let you go.
Wow, that's funny. That's funny. First of all, I thank you for having me on your show, and I want to thank Monica as well for making all this come to pass, and I really appreciate it. And may God bless you, and may He take your show even higher than where it is now. And I just want everybody to know I live by the words of Denzel Washington when he says um, how does he put that? He said, without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. So you have to be committed and
Ooh,
consistent in whatever you want to
that's
do.
bars.
Yeah. And then there was a wise man said, slowly is the quickest way, or should I say the fastest way to get to where you want to be. So take your time, learn every aspect of your craft, learn
Mm-hmm.
every avenue, learn everything, be a sponge, take it all in. You learn more with your ears open, eyes open, mouth closed. Just be a sponge and you'll be successful.
Ron Godfrey, that is some great advice. I love it. I have enjoyed this interview, and hopefully we'll do this again soon because I know you'll have some more amazing projects that you're working on, some more great news to share, and more importantly, we definitely want to help you raise money for your foundation. So we do have the link that's in the comments. So thank you for being our guest today on the Loretta McNary Show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, in closing every show, this is what we say, right? Think positive, dream big dreams, help someone along the way. And guess what? I'll see you very soon, everybody. Bye bye.